Welcome creatures, welcome specimen of all races, and what we have for us today is a PSA. The PSA in question is what is going to be in 9.2.5 immediately as the patch comes out and what is not going to be in the patch for quite a few months, very likely. Why do we have to have this PSA right now? We have to have this PSA right now because we have just gotten in the PTR the release candidate build for the patch. So 9.2.5 has entered its release candidate version. This is relevant because if we look at this expansion, when the Shadowlands pre-patch in BFA entered release candidate, it took 20 days to be released. And then when the beta of Shadowlands got its release candidate, it took 16 days to be released. And currently, patch 9.1, patch 9.1.5, and patch 9.2 all got their release candidate 12 days before the release of the actual patch. So, on average, this 9.2.5 patch should come out either on May the 31st or the next week, on June, I believe the 7th, yes, of course. So this is why we have to go over and just remind people what's going to be available, because this patch is not like any other patch. For quite a few years now, patches have worked the exact same. You get the patch, there is a 1 week, more or less 1 week grace period where Mythic Plus is the old Mythic Plus, where the raids are not open. And then you have the second week where Heroic opens, the Heroic difficulty opens together with Mythic Plus at limited item level. And then from the third week, the entirety of the season begins, right? This is what we have gotten basically since Legion pretty much. This time, this is the first patch, first and only patch almost, where things are going to be different. So it's worth correcting some people's beliefs and thoughts of what's going to happen. Number one, obviously, are we going to have, as soon as the patch comes out, so in 1 week, in 2 weeks, are we going to get the Season 4 of Mythic Plus, for example? No, we are not, obviously. And also, follow-up question, are we going to get the Season 4 and the new set of raids? No, either, because of course these are going to come out only when Season 4 begins. And for the uptime time, it's worth remembering that patch 9.2.5 and Season 4 are two different things. Patch 9.2.5 will come out quickly, as we have seen, from the release candidate, but not Season 4. The next season will take weeks, very likely months before it comes out. So these features, the Mythic Plus, the fitted raid, all of the stuff around the season is not going to come out once the patch comes out. So as a result, this means plenty of other things that Blizzard has already announced. Things like the new raid vendors, right? Having the quest to defeat the raid bosses to get the tokens, and then with the tokens you can buy a specific item from a vendor, right? That's obviously not going to come once the patch launches, because that's tied to the fated raids, to the Season 4. Upgrade items, the other thing, getting the upgrade item so you can take an LFR piece and turn it into a mythic piece, that's also going to come in Season 4 and not right at the start of patch 9.2.5. Other slight changes still tied to Season 4 are still not going to come out. For example, the cycling world boss with the upgraded item level will obviously be coming in Season 4, and a series of other changes to the gear and the itemization of Season 4. Talking about Season 4, what about Keystone Master and the new mount? No, of course, those are also going to come out once the season starts. So the recolored mount of Season 4, that's also gonna open up once Keystone Master for Season 4 is going to be available and not in patch 9.2.5. Lastly, tying things to the season, we have PvP. We have obviously Season 4 PvP won't be there, and then the new arena, the Enigma arena that is going to come out in Season 4 won't be available from the start of the patch. So the TLDR of all the things that will be missing once the patch opens is stuff tied to the season. This obviously also includes things that are currently in Season 3, so you're ahead of the curve, max limit to get, your cutting edge, and similar other achievements, things like portals. The plus 20 portals are still going to be a thing as long as Season 3 exists in patch 9.2.5. What about the new stuff though? We just pointed out all of the things that won't be in the patch when it launches. What about the stuff that will be there once the patch comes actually live? What is going to come in 9.2.5 is some more quality of life changes to collectors and multi-covenant players that want to chase all the different rewards, because now all Covenant Sanctum feature achievements are going to be completely account wide and count towards the character's total achievement points, regardless of which Covenant your character currently belongs to. What is also more important is that we're gonna get an extra stream, an extra influx of grateful offerings. That damned currency needed to get quite a lot of transmog pieces for the different Covenants. In 9.2.5, the callings, so that the daily chest rewards, will contain twice the amount of grateful offerings, while still scaling with your anima conductor level, so it gets to be quite large. On top of that, the weekly. Now, the weekly patterns within patterns in Zareth Mortis will also give you, in 9.2.5, will also give you grateful offerings. So, as far as having things to do, getting this one that gives you at the very least some more passive grateful offerings, so you can complete some of your transmog sets or mounts or whatnot, is a decent addition in the patch. Following this up, talking about Zareth Mortis, the 9.2.5 will also bring more gear in the open world from the Cypher system. In case you don't know, the more Cypher of the first ones you spend in the Cypher system, the more you increase the overall item level you can find from the items in Zareth Mortis, right? Up to 6 out of 6, which is, I believe, 252 item level. What we get now on top of this system in 9.2.5 is going to be a set of weapons. So, weapons of all kinds, including, of course, shields and offense, will now also be available from Zareth Mortis, so not just the armor anymore will be available in 9.2.5. A new buff for the legendary crafting to whoever still needs it. Crafting the base white legendary pieces, the recipes, has now been buffed in 9.2.5 by 400%. So instead of taking you 15 crafts to get your max rank, it's now going to take you 3. That's it. It's going to be much more quickly, of course, to get your max recipes. Again, it's going to be quite a lot into the patch, so perhaps not too many people still need legendaries, but you know, the end of the expansion, the last tier, perhaps more people want to start playing alts, etc, so there is still going to be need to craft these things. Following up, this one is slightly in doubt, the new portals. I'm not too sure whether or not these will be available from the start. Logic would point towards no, because these are the portals that will bring you to Gorgrond, to Karazhan, and to Mechagon. Obviously, that's because the new season of Mythic Plus will have the rebooted dungeons of Karazhan, upper and lower in Mythic Plus version, Mechagon, same in Mythic Plus version, and then Iron Docks and Grimrail Depot in Mythic Plus version, so you get your portals in Oribos right next to the Flight Master. Again, I'm not sure exactly if they are out from the start, but then again, if Mythic Plus is not open yet, why would you need those portals anyways? Talking about what will be there at the start of 9.2.5, we have our good friend over here, the social contract. That is one of the things that will pop up as soon as the patch launches. We have already talked about this thing right here, so let's skip past the next one, which is another QOL for... I'm trying to think for who this is. Perhaps achievement hunters, collectors, maybe. And that's Torghast. In 9.2.5, every wing of Torghast is going to be open at all times. So you're no longer going to have a weekly rotation of wings available. You are going to get straight up every one of the layers, always up. What we also get for collectors, this is perhaps a little bit more meaningful, is two new titles available in 9.2.5 that you can start to... Perhaps you can actually start looking at the achievements right now to make ready for these two titles. Number one is Veil Strider, and number two is Mawwalker. So the harder one, the more completionist one, is going to be Back from Beyond, the meta achievement that awards you Veil Strider. There are quite a few nasty achievements here in terms of grinding and in terms of time, effort being put into this meta achievement. This meta achievement is quite large. It is so large that you also have to complete Walking in Memphis. Walking in Memphis is a meta achievement of its own, which gives you the title Mo Walker. I am a little bit disappointed that I have been called Mo Walker for well over a year by every single NPC in this game, and yet apparently I have to earn this title again. That's weird. But obviously the Mo Walker title is related to Mo stuff. So I'm afraid if you want to get this title, you have to go back to the Mo and complete quite a few of the things that you have left behind once you got into patch 9.1. Entered Courtia and completely forgot about the Mo, because it was quite a depressing activity to have every day in there. So if you want this title, I'm afraid that's where you have to go back to. And then we have left the biggest change for last. Perhaps it's only going to be big as a novelty, right? As a new thing to try out. Perhaps some memes will spark out of this, which is cross-faction, right? What will also come in 9.2.5, regardless if Season 4 is still yet to come, is going to be cross-faction available for PvE. The new system which will allow players to raid and to Mythic Plus together with members of the opposite faction. This is, I would say, perhaps someone might correct me if you are in a pretty unfortunate server as a Horde player, this is very important for Alliance. If I were an Alliance player, hell-bent on not leaving the Alliance and making it harder for myself to get into Mythic Plus keys, this should be one of the most awaited patches, because now you will be finally able to get into Mythic Plus, find plenty of groups regardless of your faction. So this is going to be, gameplay-wise, I believe gameplay-wise is going to be the largest of changes that this patch is going to bring, even more than the Fated Raid, even more than the new Season 4 of Mythic Plus with the older dungeons introduced. I think the Alliance getting much more into Mythic Plus is going to be much more of a powerful, meaningful addition to the game, at the very least for now. This was the compilation of things that will be or won't be available at the start of this patch coming in. As we pointed out, most of the stuff will just be Season 4 related things that will only come when Season 4 begins. Now, this leaves us, as we close the video, with the question, when is Season 4 then being released? We know that Blizzard said they were planning to continue Season 3 for their normal, for a normal season's duration. This means that if we compare the other seasons' lengths being a little bit longer, we should have at the very least 3 more months of this patch before Season 4 actually comes out. So even though 9.2.5 is just a few days, 1 week, perhaps 2 weeks away, the season itself, the last season of this expansion, Season 4, is likely still in the ballpark of 2 minimum, 3 months more likely, 4 months, worst case scenario, away before it comes live. So this was the recap for today of what will come in the next patch very soon, since the patch has now entered the release candidate version of its build. So thank you guys again for watching the video and for helping to grow and support the channel. I'm going to leave you with the question for today, which is, what do you find most exciting for the release of patch 9.2.5? Which of the features coming in is going to be enjoyed the most by you and by what you enjoy doing in the game? With me, as I already said, we'll be finally seeing some more Alliance players in my content. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. With this being said, time to leave each other. You can also, of course, subscribe to the channel to help me even more. Given that this is a Horde and Alliance players holding hands type of video, everyone is allowed to subscribe for today. I am also available to be followed, but not stalked, on Twitter over here. And you can also support me even more, if you so wish, on Patreon, somewhere over here. Thank you guys again for watching. See you guys soon. And in the meantime, I really like these rubber straws. I don't have to change one every 2 days before they all get mushy. Good purchase.